I'm Nair.
And I'm Bellow.
And we are Perspeculative. And today we want to do something different. We actually wanted to do a Bellow Recommends.
And it is Bellow Recommends Restaurant to Another World. When I first recommended it to Nair, Nair has started, clarify started, a lot more anime than I have. So trying to recommend something to her that she has not watched the first 3 episodes of is very difficult.
I've completed a lot of anime too, but there are several that she has tried to recommend to me, and I'm like, oh no, I've started that. I'm like 5 episodes in, I'm 20 episodes in, I'm 500 episodes in, depending on the show. Looking at you, One Piece. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I recommended Restaurant to Another World. It's just one of those animes that you can fall asleep in the last 10 minutes of the last episode, and it's not going to affect...
That's what I look for in my anime, let me tell you what.
It's not going to affect you watching the next episode.
Oh, it's very episodic.
Yeah, and I like that. And maybe, again, this is me talking as a working mom and having to go 2 weeks without being able to watch it. And then I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. Because it's all right here, baby. All in this episode. Everything you
just
need to
about,
know.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Not to say that there aren't interconnections and Easter eggs and layers.
Oh my gosh. And as far as what I thought about when she recommended it to me, but before I watched it, I didn't think much of it. I don't look into spoilers. I don't want to know anything about it, really. So I didn't think too much. Just Restaurant to Another World. So I was like, something about isekai and a restaurant and... yeah. I did not think it was, now there's doors in every dimension and you could come from any dimension in there and stuff like that. I did kind of wonder if there's a back door and what would happen if they, oh my god, what would happen if they tried to go out the back door of the restaurant? Where would they end up? Like, would they still end up back outside the other side of their door that they came through? Or would they end up in Japan? Or if they stayed in the restaurant overnight, could they go out the door and then go to Japan? Although that one girl did that and she didn't, so I guess it's still the same door. Anyway, I did kind of wonder about the logistics of the dimension travel there. But as far as before I watched it at all, I really didn't have many thoughts on it. I mean, she recommended it to me. As we've said, I'm not big into gourmet anime. Like, I like it well enough, but it doesn't make it elevated for me like music does. It doesn't inspire me. I'm not like, ooh. I mean, anime is really good at making food look good. I feel like that's something that everyone has to admit, and everybody needs to eat, and it can be really well done. So, like, I appreciate the addition and why you would have anime based around that and everything, but I'm just not enthralled by it.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm enthralled by it, but I think that that is something for me as a very visual person and easy to please with visual. And maybe that's why food anime appeals to me so much, because when they do draw, I mean, just a simple tomato. When you're watching it, it looks like the best tomato in the world. That's the best tomato you've ever seen, you know? And I just think it just speaks greatly to the talent of the artists that are putting potentially hours of work into a single scene of you slicing open a tomato and the seeds spilling out with the juice and putting it on a sandwich with a lettuce leaf. Like, that, I think, is awesome, and I just love to watch it. I love watching those scenes. I mean, Food Wars, completely and totally there.
Which I really did enjoy Food Wars. I don't remember what I rated it, but I really did enjoy Food Wars as well. I didn't really appreciate all the...
And I didn't either.
Ichi, would you call that Ichi?
I mean, it was definitely fan service. I mean,
yeah, the fan service, the over-the-top, unnecessary It just,
I
we get
mean,
it. It's food. It's good. But
some people, that's what does it for them. That elevates it for them. Whatever,
elevates
whatever,
something.
whatever floats your boat. Okay, but yeah, squid entanglements right up in episode 1. Had to fast forward that a little bit. Definitely here for the food party. That's it.
Yeah, it looks like I gave Food Wars 8s. All 8s. So I really did like Food Wars. So don't get me wrong, I do like food anime as well. It can be really good. It's just that it being a food anime does not automatically make me like, ooh, I want to watch that. Where the music anime, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll probably like that because I will like that aspect of it for sure.
Yeah, I guess I am when I'm looking through like Slice of Life or Isekai or something and I see one that involves food. I'm like, ooh, save this, notebook it, mark it down for later. So I guess that is a good point. Because I don't think of myself as like, I'm not a foodie or anything. I'm eating fast food out here on a regular basis and devil is a part-timer.
That is another good one, but that's not as...
It's not as food-based, but there
not.
is a bit of food.
Yeah.
Great food scenes in there.
Going back to Restaurant to Another World. So once... I don't want to jump right to it, but I might say that this was a fail, but I might not. Because I usually like to give anime 4 episodes or so to show to me that there is enough potential to keep watching. That this is worth my time. And with this anime, 4 episodes in, if it wasn't for Bellow recommending it to me, I would not have kept watching it. It was not interesting enough for me. It was not doing it for me. Like, it has interesting stuff, and it's not bad, but it was not good enough to keep me watching in and of itself. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have ever watched it. Well, I shouldn't say ever watched it, but it would have been low on the list for me to ever start watching if Bello hadn't recommended it to me. But with her recommendation, I did watch it, but it became more of, okay, I have to watch this. I have to give it the full first season because she recommended it to me and have as a recommended show. But having watched the entire first season, I did like it well enough to consider watching the second season just because. I liked the different elements of fantasy in it and that you get to know everybody. I wish that each of them got delved into more. And I wish that they weren't so... Not all of them, but most of them are pretty freaking typical. As far as like, oh, it's an elf, and she's from the forest, and she's vegan now, and she's like, oh, we're better than the humans, though, and now I'm a princess, and oh, my constitution is delicate. It just was very typical with each of the stories, and I'm the super smart wizard and the best in the entire world, and I don't know, nothing was very unique except for the restaurant itself, and it wasn't focused on how that works, just that it was, and here's their favorite plate, now we're moving on to the next person and their favorite plate, and it just wasn't grabbing me. It wasn't intriguing enough for me, but by the end of it, I gave it a 6.5, so it was fine.
See, for me, I really enjoyed basically traveling through these different stories and different worlds. Again, very episodic, and you see how, I don't want to say food solves each character's problems, but why whatever meal means so much to them or helps fill a void in their life. Whether it's that they miss the meal of their homeland and it's a taste of home because the door shows up every Saturday and they can find it. So every Saturday they look forward to it because for whatever reason, whatever it is that means so much, the one lizard guy, he feeds his entire village.
Which I don't understand how they feed everybody with the little bit of food they get. When I watched that, I was like, that is not enough food to feed a village. Must be eating like a fifth of a omelet or something to feed everybody with the little bit that they get. But that's just, it's not important. important stuff. I just noticed it, and it kind of
Yeah.
was like bothering me, especially when he's gulping down multiple plates of it, and here's 3 for everybody else. You're welcome.
You don't know how many was in the thing?
I don't remember, but no, I think they show it, like, he says how many orders, and they just have, like, one per, it might be in 6 of them or something, but even still, there was a lot of village people, and
Yeah.
even if they had 10, I don't think it would have been enough, but
Yeah.
that's me looking as an American, you know.
Exactly. But yeah, so I really enjoy that. And then something that I did miss a little bit that I really enjoy in my food anime is the process of creation and stuff like that. So I wish there would have been a bit more delving into that and maybe developing also those different universes and stuff that the door does open to, because they're not really traveling there. It's like those two parallel universes just intersect on the day of Saturn, you know? I would probably have rated it an 8 at least. Like I said, not my all-time favorite food anime, but definitely up there and a good anime to go watch, especially if you just want to relax, you want to sit down and eat a cinnamon roll with a cup of hot tea or whatever and just wind down and not have to, like, think about everything that happened in the previous 238 episodes and how it led up to this point, you know? If you just want to be laid back and enjoy the show.
Yeah, and I guess that's probably part of why I said it was just fine. It's not moving me, you know what I mean? It's not. Which, my top anime is very moving emotionally. My top 3 of all time are very emotionally moving. I mean, I would think most people rate their top likes as something that really moves them and means something to them and causes emotion, which that anime did not. And I mean, not that you can't like other anime that doesn't do that a whole lot. I guess for me, it wasn't that intriguing, on top of not being that moving, on top of not being that interesting, on top of
what she means is, if you're not crying 50 times during the anime...
I didn't say it had to be crying, just being moved emotionally.
Well, for me, I don't know if I completely agree with that, because... I mean, yeah, I get it, you want something that has you emotionally invested, but how much are you relaxing during that journey? I think the goals maybe are different, and what you seek.
It depends on
and
what you want at the moment, too. Because you're not always feeling like crying that day, or what have you, or getting angry, or having something super deep on you, or something intellectually straining. Sometimes you want something to just relax to or laugh at or what have you. So it does depend on what you feel like at the time. I'm just saying for the 10s in my book, like to make it to a 9+, you need to have some emotion. Like I need to be moved here.
See, like Bushishi, way up there for me. You know what I mean?
And Mushishi can be very moving.
But how many times can you think, like, oh yeah, I like sobbed during that part, or you know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't
like,
have to be sobbing.
But it's the journey and the message behind it. And I think it's sort of the same for Restaurant to Another World, because the message behind it is that food can help heal people if done right. And food is an art. And that a single place can literally bring people together from other worlds. I feel like you can
say all that about music anime.
Yeah, but music is boring. So
you see the difference, people? You see the difference? We find each other's element kind of boring, so... That's why there's preferences. There's lots of different anime for lots of different people.
Different strokes for different folks, if you will.
Anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't call it a success, even though it wasn't like a 5 or below. And I wouldn't call it a fail, even though I wouldn't have kept watching it if it hadn't been for her recommendation. So maybe a meh? I don't know what you would call it, guys.
I definitely think it's worth the watch, especially if you guys enjoy slice of life, you enjoy food, anime,
fantasy, and just the general fantasy sense.
Definitely worth going and giving it a watch. It's not high action or anything like that, but it'll definitely give you some flavors that are out of this world. Thanks for listening.
And that was Bellow recommends Restaurant to Another World. Meh? Question mark?
Worth it.
But meh.
See you soon.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.